everybody. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, welcome back to the Phoenix Podcast. I'm Brandon McDevitt.
I'm Tiffany Piper.
And I'm Santa Gatch. Today, we're going to be talking about electric cars.
Woo. Got the Tesla T sweatshirt. Don't own one, but hopefully we will.
Brandon, you came prepared.
Okay, prepared. All right, so Savannah, did you have anything you wanted to start off initially with?
I don't know. I just think that it's an interesting topic to think about what happens when everybody has one.
Okay, so let's start with the self-driving aspect, the autonomous. So we all know
that Spider-Man commercial where he learns to drive.
Yes.
They have him, and he's like this. He does this, and the car drives for him.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. So we can all agree it's definitely awesome for sure.
Great way to do driving.
Yeah. So we know Tesla has fully autonomous. What do you guys think about fully autonomous cars? Or at least, it's not fully because you still have to look at it.
Yeah.
But in the aspect, it's fully autonomous. So what do you guys think of self-driving cars?
I think our insurance rates would drop dramatically because you don't have to worry about human error and getting accidents from that. But that's if they perfect it to where, I'm guessing is like there's some sort of thing in your car that pops onto its map or something. So that way that the car's AI, I'm guessing, where other cars are on the road. So it's scary to think you're giving the car control over driving and that car is in charge of your life.
Okay.
If you safely get from point A to point B.
I personally am super excited for it and super ready for it because I absolutely hate driving because of other people. So if I had a machine, if I had an AI to do it for me, I feel like I would be so much more relaxed and driving a car wouldn't be as stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want more AI assisted or just fully autonomous? Because
fully
remember,
autonomous.
You're giving fully. Okay.
Fully.
Do you feel worried at all because you're not in control of the vehicle? It's a computer doing it. Do you feel safe?
Personally, yes. I would. So so both my parents have cars that have lane correction, and that this is gonna be terrible, but my dad, he'll be in his car and he will fully remove his hands from the steering wheel and just sit there. Now, and he has his cruise on, so his foot isn't doing anything, his hands aren't doing anything. He has lane correction, so it's just kind of semi-automatic already. So he'll just sit there. Now it'll beep at him because you have to have your hand on a wheel every so time. But so I trust that. I trust the lane correction and all that. So my thing is I trust cruise. So it's what's one more thing for it to? It has better sensors than I do. It eliminates a blind spot ideally because of all the sensors. You don't have to worry about who's that way or anything like that. There's no looking over the shoulder for the car. It can see everything already. I think that's ideal. So I trust it.
Okay. Tiffany, you trust computers with your life?
So I gotta say, having having the lane correcting system to letting the car drive completely on its own is a lot different because you still have to be there. You're still, if you want to move, instead of the car being told, say you are on Google Maps and you're going from point A to point B, you tell a car where pretty much you give where you want it to go and it goes there without you having to do anything. You're just like an autopilot instead of being the pilot anymore.
Okay.
Or
So
that's how I see it if they were to do it
right.
like
Do you think, I personally think that I would trust the AI as long as I'm like relatively about to take the wheel, you know what I mean?
that.
So I wouldn't mind it, just going off on napping. That'd be totally insane. But I do see the future of that happening because we kind of do it with like life support machines. We expect them to work. And although the level of complexity are completely different, you're still relying on these machines to do their job. Um, yeah.
And I
What do you
think it's
guys think about? Okay.
factories.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of the same in factories because you see in some of the commercials they have like machines that go and put certain things on a car, or
Right.
when you make if you're making a certain thing, there are machines that you expect to do their job and screw in the screws onto such and such object to make in the process of making it. And
Right.
to me, it's like the machine and the person, the car doing it on its own. Because when I
Okay.
hear the car can drive itself, I'm thinking they're doing it on their own and not without a human to take part.
Okay. What do you guys think about like if every car was electric, then we would be able to have full communication with every other car. And I think that's something really important here because you don't have communication with every driver because we're all in vehicles. So I think if every car could speak to one another, saying,
Yeah,
I'm going to go
which
here.
I gotta say it's pretty cool. Oops. Yeah, I think it's really cool. And to me, I didn't notice electric cars were that popular until they made like a little charging station beside my mom's office. And I'm like, oh wow, they actually have those in
Right.
North Carolina.
Wow.
Wow.
Right.
I thought it was just like New York or something. Big cities. It's
Right.
really interesting and cool to see that they're a lot more popular than they're led on to be.
Mhm.
More and more people have them.
So with that, more people have them. What do you guys think about the costs between buying electric, making electric for the price? What do you guys think of all that?
I think that it's similar to the solar panel idea. So you know how like solar panels cost $30,000 to put them on your roof, and that initial price
Yeah.
scares a lot of people, but it'll end up saving you tons more. So it's just the initial cost. I think
Right.
that kind of scares people. I think over time the price is going to go down because more people are going to buy them. It's going to be a more common thing. It's going to be
Mhm.
available to, everyone.
And I think it's kind of the same with cars. Like, everyone knows, like, even with iPhone and stuff, like, the more people that buys the certain object, the lower the price will get just automatically because more people are buying it, so they don't have to make it as expensive to make more. I think it's getting to be the same with electric cars. If you look at an electric car compared to what an average family makes to an electric car when they first came out to when electric cars now, and compared to what an average family makes, it's a lot cheaper now,
Right.
but still expensive.
Right. What do you think about with costs and such? What do you think about electric cars coming to the market? What do you think the gasoline or every other car company is going to respond? How do you think, I think they're going to, switch to electric. I don't know. I think some are going to be too stubborn. So what do you guys think about car companies?
So I had a similar conversation with my dad, and dad says when we're all, like, say we're all 40, 50 years old, cars that use gasoline will be more of a luxury type car. That's what they'll be known as. because one, your insurance are going to go through the roof because no one's using gasoline cars and they're not being controlled by they're not as safe because they don't have the intelligence for that would be needed. So it would be like it gasoline cars with gasoline and stuff would be known as a luxury car, and then the electric car will be like the everyday. I think it's going to flip.
Flip. Okay. Right.
I
Vanna?
no. What my dad has currently is a hybrid car. It takes gas, but it also so basically, he has a RAV4. And I think it came out in 2019 or something. I don't know. But basically, what it does is when he is stopping or taking his foot off the gas or he has his foot on the brake, it takes that extra energy and stores it. So he doesn't have to buy gas as often because it stores that extra energy. And I think that's what all these other car companies are going to do. So Toyota has it already. I know Ford has it. I think Honda has it. So I think that for now they're going to go hybrid, little half and half, and then kind of slowly make their way into it. Tiffany, I don't think gas is going to be a luxury car ever because it is so common now. And you also have to understand the fact that once everybody gets to the hybrid and fully electric cars, gas prices are going to go, are they going to go up or are they going to go down? If they're trying to get more people, they're going down now because less people are buying it. And I think that's what's going to happen. The price of it's going to go down. And what we can see is that luxury things are typically more expensive. Prices on gas cars that take gas is going to go way down too because they're out of date. They're old.
Then again, it all depends because it can go two ways. Either price can go up because no one's buying it and it depends on how much it's going to cost for gas stations and stuff to buy the gas. Yeah, the prices were going up because everyone's using it, but there's lots of companies that were making money off of the fact that everyone's using it, and it's a necessity to drive the car.
Yeah, so when it's not a necessity, then it's going to go down.
Could the prices go up still, though, because it's harder to buy it? Because not everyone's using it. It all depends on how, with the gas quantity, what we have left of gas in the world.
I see where both of you guys are coming from. And with that, I want to say, do you guys think that, so if electric cars do make it big, they will.
Yeah.
Do you think that there will be a new law or regulation on gasoline cars, making them more luxury because it's illegal? You know what I mean?
Illegal?
In the sense that
I wouldn't say illegal.
They may make it like
I get what you're saying,
like
though.
At least taxes, right? Extraordinary taxes on gas, so it makes it more.
I know like they did that on alcohol, right? Because
they did that on the Prohibition Act.
You have a bunch of taxes on anything that on tobacco, alcohol products. Could they do the same to like gasoline to make it less used and not as very? Darn it, I can't think of the word, but like it's not.
Yeah, we feel you. Yeah.
No one really wants to spend all that money to using gasoline car because it's expensive. Buying gasoline is hard in the first place now.
Right.
And it makes the electric cars seem more likable because it's cheaper over time.
Right. Savannah, what do you think about? Do you think electric cars and gasoline will have new laws and disrupt?
I think it's a really hard question because my initial thought was no, they wouldn't do that because I feel like it's going to be a very easy transition to go from slow but like easy for the majority of people to see the appeal of it. But I mean, I have no idea, man.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on how a certain population takes it in. I think a lot of millennials
Okay.
and Generation Z, our age, are going to jump for it, and a lot of people that are, like, want to do better for this earth are gonna jump at it. My parents are whatever comes before millennials, like Generation X or Y, I don't know.
Uh,
Depends, because you also got like
one of
Oh
the
well.
those.
And so they
70s.
so they they they're pretty like excited about it. They like the idea of it a lot better than gas. As you can see, my dad's jumped for the hybrid. And so I think that to that population of people, it's a great thing, and I think it'll be welcomed really easily. Elon's age, I think, will help. Some people see it better, but like people like my grandmother maybe, she doesn't really fully understand why we would switch or the benefits of it.
Okay.
She only sees the price of it and says, well, why wouldn't I just, buy a car that I can put gas into? So I think it's going to depend on the population. There's certain people that this is marketed towards, and I think it's the younger
Right.
people who are growing up, and put it that way. Yeah, so I think if some people are really against it and that is an issue that comes up, maybe we'll put up some laws or like major taxes or some crap on it. But for the most part, I think that
Mm.
they're just kind of gonna leave it up to choice, because you have to think about all the cars that are already made
Okay.
and already produced, and like what's gonna happen with those.
Mhm.
What do you think, Brandon? Laws, no laws?
I definitely think that at some point there will be incredibly high tax. If when electric cars are an easy switch for a general household family to convert or not, yeah,
Mhm.
basically convert. I think that there will be more gradually higher taxes on gasoline to push more people towards electric, especially the car companies, because as long as gas prices are low, then the car companies will make gas cars. So it's one of those. The government has to also be on side of this, not just the people, even though it really depends on who's going to budge first. Hopefully the people. So we'll show the government what's up. um,
Yeah.
all right.
So
Do
what
we want
I'm
to
saying
keep
is
on
like
going? It's already been
theoretically,
around 16. We'll finish up one more idea.
yeah,
What?
with like the gas prices going higher, it's theoretically looking at like it depends. Because if you look at history, if the government wants us to push away from something, they tend to throw taxes on it, like
Hmm.
steep taxes.
Right.
Like and that's kind of where I think the gas prices might go up, because looking in the past, if the government decides or that this is a better option, they instead of saying they've learned to not just make it illegal, they learned that if you put taxes on it, people use the
Mhm.
average middle class people, unless that's their obsession or something, they tend to stick away from it to save money.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, I agree. Um, do we want to go longer? Do we want to do one more topic, or do we want to stop here? We'll
Uh,
call this a show. What do you guys want? What do you guys feel? I mean, there's no time limit. It's just.
yeah,
Do
it's just up in the
you
air.
guys have any
Yeah.
more topics you want to
Oh,
touch on?
insurance. Let's do that real quick. Okay, so
Insurance?
I think
Yeah.
all right, so like if we have all these automatic cars, right? Insurance rates are going to go down like drastically. Like because there's going to be fewer and fewer accidents crossing fingers, and I think that that'll be really beneficial.
Agree with that.
But then insurance companies are going to have a need for money. So what other place is the price going to go up so that they can even out that loss for gain? That was kind of like
Yeah, I think
my big question that I thought.
okay. Yeah, that like there's gonna be definitely new jobs that are definitely something's gonna shift. Insurance companies will probably, I'm not sure, but they may lean more towards like computer failing, stuff like that, something that you can't control. Same thing for like engine failures, not engine failure, but like if your car messes up, it's like their fault, it's their fault.
Yeah.
So one of those they may lean
There
that
was
way.
like a big question of who pays the insurance. Is it the people who develop the software,
Hmm.
or is it the car owner? Because if the car crashes, the person's not the one driving. And they happen to not be the person driving, and it's on autopilot, or
Well, it's kind of, I think it also kind of goes to this same thought process of, well, when you build something, it's going to be up to date for so long, and it's going to work and get updates and work for so long until our technology advances enough to where that technology is outdated. Kind of like going to a used car place and buying a car. The car is not going to, some of the cars last longer. It depends on how the technology changed throughout the years. Buying a car from the 90s is a lot different from getting a car from the 2000s to getting a car in the 2010s to getting a car in the 2020s.
Right.
Machines are going to be different. I know nothing about cars, just a warning. I'm just thinking based off listening to mechanics that I live around talking.
Okay. Yeah, Savannah, that's a really good question. I didn't think about whose fault it is because it is their software. So, do you think? Here's my question. I'm going to answer that question with another question because that makes sense. Is the car company still connected in any way? Because I feel if let's say they're you buy a computer and you're playing on a Minecraft server. Now, if
now you're
your
speaking my
computer
language.
glitches, analogies at work, man. If your computer glitches on your world, is it the server's fault or is it your fault because it's your computer? So I think there's got to be a distinct connection between like who owns it, because you bought the car, you bought the software, right? So it's technically your software, but it's also, there's a connection because the car company, at least I know Tesla does this, they'll update their car.
So
Right.
you're pretty much saying, as a buyer, as a person who owns the car, I trusted the software enough to buy it. So if something were to happen, because I put my faith and trust in that software, it should be my fault if the software cracks. Not the person who made the software, because once I bought the car that had that software, I kind of said, I trust this. I used my judgment to trust.
Unless I had to sign a liability waiver saying that if you crash, it is not our fault, although it is our software. You purchased a car and you took that risk. Unless I sign a liability waiver saying that, then that is on you. That is your software, and if it's the other person's fault,
it.
Okay, that is quite fair.
I am using it, correct. But if I did not sign a liability waiver saying that it is not our fault if you crash, you bought this car, it is now on you, then it is your fault. It is your software and your program development. So if I crash and I hurt somebody else, and what if I don't have insurance? You know, like you can't buy a car unless you have insurance. Well, like just saying, like what if,
When you
you
buy
know,
a car, like
Okay.
waivers when you buy a car. I've never bought a car from a.
no, okay,
I
when
know
you
any
buy a
of us have
car,
bought a car
Yeah.
from a dealership.
okay, so
We sign
buying a
like
car,
because
no,
that
so
won't. That
you don't
makes
sign a
that
liability waiver because, well, I don't know about
Right.
buying a Tesla, but I know for a fact that if you buy a gas car, even a hybrid, you do not sign any liability waivers because you're the person driving it. As soon as you are the one sitting in that seat, you're in control of the car. But then you have the issue here is autopilot. You're not the one driving the car, the software is driving it. So if there's a fault in the software and something happens, I think that is the software developer's fault, the company's fault who sold me that car. And unless I sign something saying it is not our fault if you crash, you take the risk by driving it. If there's not some law that says that, then I'm suing your ass.
Okay.
I'm suing you.
All right. Okay. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
where you're coming from too.
Okay.
Though at the same time, how can the company continue on if people are suing them left and right?
Okay, so here's okay. I
don't think
think
it'll be.
I feel like the good will weigh out of the bad. Like, okay, so my grandfather knows this guy, and he has an he has a truck, and it drives it. He doesn't have to do anything. It drives him. It's autopilot. And he had a heart attack and that car was able to drive him to the hospital as he was having the heart attack, and he was able to get there safely and live. Like, I feel like the good will outweigh the bad if there is a problem.
Wow.
And I feel like I feel like they're putting this out there in the market that they must be
Okay.
so sure of themselves. So I don't think that it'll be an issue necessarily. I don't think their software is going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I gotta say,
Did it
there's a difference
with
between
error.
your insurance when it comes to like a crash happening. There's a difference from suing the person and getting insurance that they paid for.
Mhm. So, are we saying that basically insurance companies will just be saying, "Hey, it's not the driver's fault. It's your software." Do you think insurance companies are just going to be those guys, or because unless there's a waiver?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's a waiver, but do you think that they're just going to be, you know, the liability waiver for
But
new
I
cars?
gotta say, I think insurance was created to take so that way we're not suing each other. Everyone's not suing each other left and right
Mhm.
for over a car crash. We now have this
Mhm.
insurance to where we can pay for you to get a new car and not being sued $1.5 million because of the car crash, especially in situations where it could be both persons' problem, both of the people who are in the incident's fault.
I think that there must be something that we are missing. Like, there must be some kind of under the table agreement between, like, maybe in particularly Tesla and insurance agencies or agents, just kind of like saying, if they crash, you can't pin it on us. Just do your insurance job. That way the insurance is still getting money and they don't get sued. Maybe, I don't know, that's just a little theory to drop in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think let's say that you sign a waiver saying it's your fault, right? And then I know Tesla does this, that they'll update their car through the Wi-Fi. I know, right? It's so cool. They'll
Yeah.
update their car. Do you think if they update their car and it doesn't work do you think that's something that should be suable? Because, you didn't ask for the update, but you just signed a waiver. So who do you go to? Because this is, that wasn't called for on the waiver. You know what I mean? Or that's disregarding that you signed saying it's not your fault. It didn't say anything about new software. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
what do you think is going to happen about new software updates and stuff?
I think it might be in the contract, when you, or
It's going to have
be
to be
part of
added.
the paperwork when you go to sign for when you buy the car.
Okay.
So you're saying
Okay.
like maybe your car doesn't have Wi-Fi and it's trying to do a software update and it can't? Is that what you're
No,
getting
I'm
at?
trying to say like you
When
signed
you,
your waiver for saying software, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Any issue
Okay.
with the
Okay.
card, it'll be my fault. Uh, but a new update comes, you weren't aware, and you crash. Should that waiver be also under the umbrella of that software update, or just the newest one you know of? Should the software be like, should the liability cover every update? Every update should just cover everything, or just the newest one you know that you're signing for?
I
Do you
feel
feel me?
like yeah, I get what you're trying to say. Okay. I
Okay.
think that the waiver is going to include the software and future software updates. Like I feel like that needs
Okay.
to be like Tesla, if you're listening, that needs to be included because otherwise their ass will get sued. um maybe
Okay.
maybe, Um oh,
it
that's really
should
up in the air. I'm going to warn
be,
you guys 2 minutes it says. Yeah. But
mhm.
Okay.
So
We'll
I
close
guess
it
on a,
out.
you can give
yeah.
final thoughts, but on that subject, I think it all depends on what's written on there. Is it written like, will they say software up with the update I.2006550,
Mm.
is it going to say the exact update? If then I'm given liability for that update and then the rest is on the company who updates it? Or does it say I give liability to any latest version of update on this vehicle? Like,
Right.
does it say? Is
All
it
right.
written in right?
Well, let us know what you guys think
So
in the
big.
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big idea. Sign waivers before you buy electric cars. All right,
Yeah.
guys.
All
Thank you
right.
for listening to today's episode of the Phoenix Podcast.
That was
Please
interesting.
like, comment, subscribe. Um,
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.